Hi, this video is another example of how to solve a polynomial equation. Let's go through our checklist we developed in the last video. The first thing we want to do is make sure our equation is set equal to 0, and it is in this case. The next thing we want to do is look through and see if we can factor out anything that'll make our lives a lot easier. I see here that I can't really factor anything out in this case, so I'm moving on to the next step. The next step was to graph the polynomial and to determine one of the zeros. So I'm going to do this in Excel. I already have a list of x values displayed in the A column, and now I'm going to enter my polynomial in the B column. So it's equal to 9 times my x value cubed plus 27 times my x value squared minus 2 times my x value minus 6. Alright, and I'm getting awful large values, but that's okay. I'm going to fill these in, and now I want to just graph part of this that might have meaning to what I'm doing. And what I'm looking for is any of the values that will give me a 0, okay, or any of the x-intercepts. So I'm going to insert a chart. Graphically is really the easiest way to see this. Okay, here, and now I'm just going to pretty up my chart real quick. Alright, I'm going to actually just make it a line and smooth it. Alright, and I can see here that my polynomial crosses the x-axis at -3 and a little less than 0 and a little more than 0. Alright, so I can look through my table of values over here to determine what the exact value is. I see I have a 0 at -3, and now if I look around 0, I see that I can't determine what those other two values are exactly. So I do know one of my zeros is -3. So let's go back to solving. Over here I know that I have a 0 at -3, and what this means is that I have a factor at x plus 3. So now, in order to reduce this to a quadratic, and why I want to get it to a quadratic is because we can solve quadratics pretty simply using a variety of tools, and more specifically the quadratic formula. So the way I'm going to get this to a quadratic is to divide by x plus 3. That's why it's important that we know how to divide by a polynomial. So in this case I'll use synthetic division. I'm going to put my -3. Remember, if it's positive I make it negative. And now I'm going to put my coefficients, 9, 27, minus 2, minus 6. Remember, in division of polynomials, synthetic division, I just bring down the first one. Minus 3 times 9 is minus 27. And now in this case I add them, so I get 0. 0 times minus 3 is 0. -2. -3 times -2 gives me a positive 2, so I get 0. Remember that when I write the result, I go down 1 power from that, so x squared plus 0x minus 2. So now I can actually write this in factored form. It's x plus 3, 9x squared minus 2 equals 0. So my polynomial has gone from that to this. And now I can look at what my solutions would be. X plus 3 implies that I have a solution at x equals -3. Well, we saw that on the graph as well. And this part here I can solve by setting this part equal to 0. I can solve it to determine what my other solutions are. 9x squared equals 2. X squared equals 2 over 9. X is going to equal plus or minus the square root of 2 over 3. So now those are my three solutions. X equals -3, x equals plus or minus square root of 2 over 3. And if I go back to my graph, that's this point, this would be minus the square root of 2 over 3, and this would be plus the square root of 2 over 3.